Have you ever saved all year for that one family vacation and ended up stressed out about every single dollar?
Not anymore. Hi, I'm Mary Ellen.
And I'm Joe. We're two busy moms who have cracked the code on travel with points and miles.
We're here to show you how we turn everyday expenses into extraordinary vacations.
This is Wonderland on Points, where we share tips and tricks to help you earn free and deeply discounted travel.
Let the adventure begin. Welcome back. This is Wonderland on Points presented by Yahoo Travel. Today, we are heading down off the coast of Ecuador, South America. We have not done a lot of episodes featuring South America, places near South America. And so we're going to the Galapagos Islands today with our friend Lauren. You can find her on Instagram at Adventuring Party of Four. We love family travel. We love, having to travel with more than just two people. It gets a lot more complicated. So we like to dig into it. So Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing about this incredible trip.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I've been following you guys for a while and I love everything that y'all are doing. So,
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. I first saw pictures from the Galapagos Islands when I was nannying for a family a number of years ago, and they had gone on their honeymoon, and the wall of the playroom was covered in blown up pictures of turtles and iguanas and the
oh,
coast. And I was like, I have to go there someday. But
yeah.
truthfully, this was all before Points and Miles. So never in
hmm
my wildest dreams have I ever even considered going to the Galapagos Islands. And this
Yeah.
is complicated. Like, you had to do some real piecing together, but the fact that it's even an option is the magic. It's why we're all here. It's why we love it so
hmm
much. So we're so excited to dig into it with you today. So what put this on your wish list? Like, why was this a thing for you guys? Was it someday maybe we'll do that? Or did you just spur of the moment, hear of it, figure out a flight and go for it?
Yeah. So we took a really awesome trip in 2022 to Hawaii. It was kind of our coming out of COVID trip and it reinvigorated our love of travel. And so my husband and I each separately made a bucket list. And I put at the time it was like Spain and Greece and Italy, but my husband was like Belize, Galapagos, some snow leopard place in India. And I was like, oh, okay,
Wow.
sure. Um, and so it was kind of, I never really thought it would be a reality that we'd actually go to the Galapagos. But I used one of my favorite points and miles websites and tools, and that was Points Yeah. And I love their Daydream Explorer where you can put in
Yes.
your from and then leave the destination just totally blank. So when I was trying to find a trip from, after school got out and I was just leaving all of our options open, Quito popped up as a pretty great deal. And I was like, okay, Quito. That's like, if I can get to Quito, the Galapagos is just a short little plane ride from there. And so that's kind of how it all started.
Guys, I'm feeling very vindicated right now because I'm always talking about how much I love points. Yeah.
Oh
And
my
everyone's
gosh.
like, ugh, seats.aero, seats.aero. The points, yeah, is so good for this kind of thing, especially the
Yes.
Daydream Explorer. I realize that seats.aero allows you to do something similar, but it's not the same. There's something about the visuals and the way that it lists everything, and you can search further than you can with the free version of Seats.aero.
Mhm.
I love it. I just want all of our beginners. We've got a number of new people because of our Yahoo partnership. So a lot of people here are new to all of this. And I want to encourage beginners to go to Points, yeah, to just start
Yeah.
playing around with what's possible. And that's what's
Yes.
so fun about the Daydream Explorer. So I just had to have like a little moment.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a great tool. Super user-friendly too.
You guys fly out of the Dallas Fort Worth area, right? I was
Yes.
super impressed when I dug into your trip and I asked you more about your flights. This was not a one trick pony. This wasn't you transferred to one thing and you booked round trip. This was a
Mhm.
mix of programs that really showed some deep knowledge of points and miles. American Airlines, Avianca, even Qantas, you booked some things. So, how did you
Yeah.
piece it all together without losing your mind? Because, I mean, truly to give the listeners an idea, you had an American Airlines flight booked on Qantas, which is a great hack. You had Avianca with a 15% transfer bonus from Amex. So you did a little transfer bonus magic. You booked some
Mhm.
AA straight through AA, and then even a charter plane with cash, which is very intimidating. So, how did you piece all this together? Did you just do one thing at a time?
Yeah, so first we booked the to and from Quito flights because I knew like if I couldn't get to Quito and I couldn't get home from Quito, none of it was going to happen. And so, again, Pointstat, yeah, showed me that the Qantas option was the great way to get there. We had to go from Dallas to Miami, had a layover in Miami, and then flew Miami to Quito. But very reasonable, point price. And then the return flight was on American, even more reasonable. I kind of can't believe that was actually the cost of the flight was, I think it was like 12,500 points per person to get from Quito to Miami back to Dallas. I mean, so it's hard to even find that for a domestic flight sometimes. So, yeah, as soon as I knew we could figure out the Quito piece, then I knew we could easily figure out the Galapagos piece because there's two different airports on the Galapagos Islands, and Avianca is really the main carrier for both of those. And so those were much easier flights to find than
Mhm.
the ones getting to Quito. But that was really, if you can get to Quito, you can easily get to the Galapagos.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about the inter-island plane because I have to be
Oh
honest, like
gosh.
makes me a little nervous. Was it exciting or was it terrifying?
I loved it. But a little bit of background, I'm an airline brat. So my dad was a pilot for American Airlines for 30 plus years. My mom was a flight attendant for 35 years. So I've grown
Aw.
up on airplanes and airports. And so I loved it. But it was kind of a last minute thing we booked. Logistically, if you're trying to get to the various islands, you only have two options. You have a ferry boat, which is it's like a 2.5 hour ferry ride that's more like a turbulent airplane than like a
Yes.
pleasant ferry ride, or a tiny little plane. Neither one, might not be ideal, but you have to pick one or the other if you want to go to various islands and do a land based tour. And so, looking at what the route was, it was either going to be we have to take a ferry to one island, wait several hours, take another ferry to that island, or take a 45-minute flight. And so we went with the flights. Um, in hindsight, I don't know what I would have done. My dad was not very happy with me. And I told
Oh,
him
really?
about the flight we took because, and I get it, there was one pilot. And so he's like, well, what if something would have happened? What if there was a medical emergency on the flight? Who would have flown the plane? And he has a valid point.
And you said,
But
Dad, you've trained me well. I would take over. I got it from you.
it worked out fine. But yeah, it was only a six-seater plane. So it was our family, the pilot, and then one other person.
How did you
Wow.
even find it? Like, what website did you go to say charter flights in the Galapagos? I mean, you just kind of
So
did a
there's
Google
yeah,
search?
there's two companies. We went with ESAV, and I can't recall the name of the other company, but there's two different companies that routinely fly from the various islands, and they're very well known. And I did my research ahead of time, and I checked all the things you would want to check to make sure you're safe for your family. Like I did my homework. But yeah, they fly all the time to the two little islands, and it's kind of one of the things I like to do before I travel to a new destination is I join a destination specific Facebook group
Yes.
Absolutely.
because there's people who live there who can give you the information. There's people who just travel there who can say, "Oh, don't do this. Oh, do this." And so I scrolled through a ton of posts researching the different airlines, the two main ones that fly the inter-island flights before we selected a flight.
It's
That's
very
such
good
an
advice.
underrated tool and tip. Absolutely. Always join. Even if you don't
Yeah,
use Facebook for anything else, it is so helpful to join
it
these
is.
travel groups and destination specific groups.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the islands a little bit.
Mhm,
So you visited three. So we've got San Cristobal, Isabela, and Santa Cruz.
mhm.
Did you feel that there was something unique that each island had to offer, or do you feel like you could have skipped one and it would have been fine?
Yeah, so each island definitely has something unique. Whether it's on Isabella, you can see penguins, but you can't see penguins on the other two islands. You can also see seahorses there too. Santa Cruz is the more populous of the islands, and San Cristobal is kind of in the middle. And so, um, the best analogy I can think to explain the three islands is kind of like the Goldilocks example.
Mm,
So Santa Cruz with 12,000 population kind of felt a little too big.
Okay.
Isabella with 2,000 kind of felt a little remote, a little too small, and then San Cristobal with like 5 or 6,000 people felt just right. And
okay.
all four of us in our family agreed we fell in love with San Cristobal and would 100% go to that. I mean, we'd go to all the islands again, but we loved San Cristobal. Just it's I mean, sea lions are everywhere,
I
absolutely
was
everywhere.
deceased watching your stories. I know that you're not supposed to interact with wildlife, but like the way that everything in me would just want to let's be
Yeah.
friends. When the
Oh
one
my gosh,
swam under
yes.
you while you were snorkeling, the noise you made in that highlight is the same noise that I made out loud when I was like, ah! Which is
Yeah.
so,
Uh-huh.
so amazing. I would 100% just never leave. I love sea lions. So if anyone was planning this trip for their family and they're like, we really can't afford to be bouncing around between the islands and taking these charters, you think San Cristobal, like if you were just going to one, this is where you go.
Yes, and there's an airport there. So
Oh, that's
it's
perfect.
easy to get to the airport. Honestly, the taxi from the airport to we'll talk about the IHG property was a 2-minute taxi ride.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
technically you could walk. Didn't want to
Okay.
do that with all of our suitcases, but I mean everything is so close together. You could do that island, spend several days there and have a really amazing experience.
Amazing.
Well, similar to the strategies you use booking all different flights and piecing things together, because you hopped around on this trip, you really put together a mix of hotels. So you stayed at a Marriott, you did IHG, you paid some cash rates through Rakuten for a multiplier to earn points, you did
Mhm.
something through the Chase travel portal, even a Hilton night. I mean, you kind of hit
Uh,
all the bases on the one trip.
yeah.
So much respect for like working every aspect of each program that you could. So give us a rundown of your itinerary, I guess, as you hopped around, which hotels you booked in each spot and your overall impression of those hotels. If you recommend them for other people, or if maybe you would have look elsewhere next time if you were going back.
Yeah. So in Quito, we stayed at the JW Marriott, which is a fabulous property, very reasonable points and cash prices. It's a very, very nice property, kid friendly, great pool, cute little area where you can, like, the kids can get food and feed the fishes, or fish, however you, whatever the plural of that
I
is,
like
fish,
Fishes
fishes,
sounds
fishes.
better.
fishies,
It's
little
cute.
cute fishies. So that was a fantastic property. We loved staying there. In San Cristobal, we stayed at the Hotel Indigo, which amazing. You have the best views from your room, right of sea lions, and the ocean every single day. Beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Just we love that property. The staff went above and beyond. Fantastic pool, very walkable. We walked almost everywhere. When we went to Isabella, we stayed at the Drake Inn, which we booked through Expedia on Rakuten and got I think it was 10x at the time. We switched hotels around a little bit. Like we booked some canceled, booked canceled. But when the Drake Inn became available, I hopped on that because they have this amazing rooftop where you just can see the beach and the water.
Oh,
And it is so peaceful and quiet and serene. And that was a really great stay with breakfast included, which
we
love
love
that
that.
for
We
Yes,
love
we
it.
families.
do.
In Santa Cruz, we stayed kind of like a newer place. It was like an Airbnb type vibe, but it was right in the city. And so also very walkable. And we booked that through the Chase portal, so I could use that $50 annual credit. And then in Miami, we had a 1 night layover before we went back to Dallas, and we stayed at just a Hilton there and used. But when you could get the $50 gift cards with your Amex before they stopped the gift card deal, we had a stack of those gift cards we used for that stay. So
Ugh, That's so clever. I hate it when there's like really awesome tricks that used to work that no longer work. And
Yeah,
people will go back and listen to old episodes where we talk about things and then they'll be like, I want to do this. And I'm like, it's not a thing
I
anymore.
know.
Sorry. Stuff
Yeah.
moves too quickly. I know we're doing broad overview today, guys, and I
Hmm.
want to encourage everybody to go look at Lauren's Instagram page, scroll through the highlight bubbles. You'll find the Galapagos ones. They say part 1, 2, and 3. They don't say Galapagos like the way that the other highlights say the name. So don't scroll right past them. You'll be able to figure it out. But she's got everything in there and you should go look. And we are trying to keep it under an hour for you guys today. So we're not digging into everything. But all that to say, I would love to zoom in a little bit on the IHG, the Hotel Indigo.
Hmm.
Do you remember what your redemption was like for that? And do you have an IHG card or were you
Hmm.
transferring from Chase?
I have an IHG personal and business card, and my husband has a personal as well. I believe it was around like 260, 270,000 in total for the 4 nights, and that is with getting the fourth night free. So it is a little pricey. It's more pricey than like a lot of people redeem for the Kimpton Sea Fire, and that's about 70,000 a night. It's a little bit more, but um, there's not a lot of options to redeem your points at hotels in the Galapagos.
Right.
And so if you're wanting to use points, it is a really great option. It's a fabulous hotel, great service. It was well worth. I mean, I think the out of pocket cost would have been like $4,000, which was just, not in our budget.
No. And
Yeah.
then these are the kinds of things, guys, when we're talking about opening co-branded cards, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. Have a property in mind, have a destination, plan around it, open cards for something specific. This would be a great option for that.
And one more thing I want to add to that is I did keep an eye on the rates for that night, and they did change some. They did drop at one point. So I did cancel and rebook
That's
and got some
awesome.
points back.
Excellent.
So
Yeah,
While
that's
we're
just to
talking
fantastic.
keep that in
about
mind.
While we're talking about the fees and the prices for things, there are some really important cash fees that you need to know about if you're planning a trip like this, because you guys
Yes.
ran up on some airport fees, some entry fees that everyone has to pay, and you have to pay in cash. So run us
Hmm.
through
You
that so that
do.
everybody can be prepared, because I notoriously don't travel with enough cash, and I would have
Mm-hmm.
gotten myself into a bind trying to get into the Galapagos.
Yes. So just 97% of the Galapagos is national protected park land, and they are very, very protective of that space as they should be. Before you can even get into the Galapagos, you have to fill out a transit control card, basically. I think you can now do it online, which is wonderful. You could not when we did it. You had to show up at the airport, pay $20 a person cash and fill out this special card. And you kept that card with you the entire trip. When you returned from the Galapagos, you had to show that card again. And it basically is your like entry card into the Galapagos protected space. When you get into, like, when you land at the airport in the Galapagos, you then have to pay a national park fee per person. It is $200 for each adult and $100 for a child in cash. So for us, that's $600 cash.
I can't
And
remember the last
and
time I
then,
saw $600 in cash. Like
yeah,
I would feel so ballin' just carrying my $600 in cash
uh-huh,
around.
yeah. And honestly, cash is needed a lot in the Galapagos. There are various ATMs. They don't always work.
Mhm.
So just always make sure you have enough cash on you. A lot of restaurants, places like that, tour, excursions take card, but some of the smaller places don't take card. Like when we did our laundry, we had to pay cash. So
Speaking of laundry, I saw that highlight. $1 a pound, everything washed and folded. I would
it's
never
amazing.
leave. If you saw the laundry pile that I have to catch up on, I would literally drive it all out of my house right now if someone would do it for $1 a pound. So,
Yeah. Great
that
deal.
yeah, it's amazing. I love that, and I like that because it allows you to pack much, much more reasonably and small. If you
Mhm.
know that you can just wash stuff while you're there and you don't need to overpack and be hauling around a lot, I think that is excellent. Okay, speaking of currencies, which are we supposed to exchange currencies before we go? Can you use the US dollar? What do we do there?
Yeah, so great news for American travelers. Currency is the US dollar. So
Wow.
you don't have
Okay.
to exchange or do anything like that.
I would like to poll
Beautiful.
people in our
Yeah.
Facebook group. How many people knew that in Ecuador you use the US dollar? Go to the Facebook group and tell us. I hope it's not a lot because I just learned
Yeah.
something new today, which is part of why we love this podcast so much, guys.
Yes.
We always learn
Yeah.
something new. Okay, well that is easy.
Mhm.
That because that's great. Okay, let's move on then. We want to talk activities. So let's rewind a little bit and go back to Quito because I think you guys did a tour while you were
Mhm.
there before you headed onwards. So you went to visit the equator, which is so
Yes.
cool. And you booked it via Viator, which
We
is a
did.
great, assuming through Rakuten on Viator to get a nice
Yes.
multiplier there. So
Mhm.
tell us all about it. If you remember the cost, throw that out. If not, people can probably find it in your highlights. But tell us about the things that you did and saw and how
Yeah,
it was.
I don't remember the cost off the top of my head, but it
That's
was an
okay.
all-day tour. Our guide, Freddie, was amazing. So the first stop was the equator, middle of the world. It's kind of like a quirky little, it's not a museum, but it's a stop. It is more tourist based. But you do a bunch of fun things along the way. Like you try and balance on a line while closing your eyes and putting your chin up. And I don't know why. It's so hard. It's the
Oh,
forces of the two sides. I mean, I have a video of my kids, like, they look like they're drunk, right? They're just, it pulls you multiple ways.
Okay, that's so
Um,
cool.
and then you have to balance an egg on the head of a nail, which is incredibly hard. My daughter was like the only one who could actually do it. And then they take a bowl of water and like put a leaf in. And if you move it on one side of the equator, it spins one way. And if you put it on the other side, it spins the other way. And if you put it right in the middle, the leaf just goes down the sinkhole.
so
So it
cool.
was really,
I think
really
I've
cool
seen
to just
videos of this on
experience that.
Instagram.
Yeah, so we did that. Then we went up to the cable car to the top of a mountain peak and kind of were able to have a beautiful view. They had llamas up there, and you could like pay $1 for your kid to take a cute picture with a llama and like a poncho. Just again, very touristy, but we were tourists. And then we went into Old Town Quito, which is absolutely beautiful. There's a cathedral there from the late 1800s.
Oh,
We
wow.
did a chocolate making tour and just able to really just walk around Old Town Quito and kind of get a feel for the city. We only had one day, one full day in Quito, so we wanted to make the most of it and see as much as we could. But we loved Quito. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's a cloud forest not too far away. So I think we would go back to Quito and try and explore a little bit more.
Guys, we're pausing really quickly to tell you about one of the major ways that we earn enough points every single year for a welcome offer, sign up bonus, that kind of amount of points without getting a new credit card.
I checked my account this morning for what we're about to tell you about, and in the less than 2 years that I have been using this, I have earned 230,000 points. Okay, this is crazy. None of those points required a sign up bonus.
Yes, you need to turn your everyday online shopping into your next trip. With Rakuten, that is what we're talking about. Rakuten, you earn cash back at thousands of popular stores just for clicking through their app or website before you shop. Now, it is billed as cash back, but for us in the points and miles world, it's points.
You can choose to take your cash back in the form of either American Express membership rewards. You do have to have an Amex card to do this, or built points. And get this, you can do that with a free built account.
So this means buying shoes that you were already going to buy or the laptop you needed anyway. We all online shop. You should be getting more for travel, for your next flight, for your hotel stays through shopping online. It's free to join, super easy to use. As soon as you get the hang of it, you're like, oh my gosh, why was I not doing this before? And a really simple way to stack rewards on top of your credit card points.
Yeah, guys, just today I got 10 times the points for a PetSmart pickup order, and the only difference was me clicking through Rakuten before I placed that order. It's a game changer. If you use our link in the show notes, when you spend your first $50 at any of the thousands of retailers that partner with Rakuten, spend your first $50 and you will get $50 cash back or 5,000 points. You guys, that is enough for a free stay at a hotel.
Yeah, you're going to want to go to the link in our show notes. If you do not already have a Rakuten account, go to the link in our show notes, sign up. Your first $50, you're going to get that $50 right back in the form of points that you can use for travel. So sign up today, and we will get back to the episode.
That's good to know, because when I was reading all the questions and preparing for this, I was remembering that when I was small and homeschooled and we read a lot of books, there was this one book that I thought was so magical called The Secret of the Andes. And that is what I thought of when I was like doing research about this location. And I was going to ask, do you think it's worth a visit just
Oh,
there?
yeah.
Like, I've always kind of dreamed about this area of the world ever since reading that book as a child, which is a great book, by the way, if anyone wants a great educational and good story, and it's clean for your children. 10 out of 10 recommend. But it's good to know that you would take a trip there as well, especially since you found such a great deal there. It seems like maybe that's something that people would be able to find for themselves and just do a trip there as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot to explore in Ecuador.
Amazing.
Well, let's move on to San Cristobal, the tortoise conservation, and all the incredible things you guys did there. What did you guys enjoy the most?
San Cristobal, the wildlife, it's everywhere. It's the reverse of anything you're used to, where here it's human centered and the wildlife is out there somewhere, right? In San Cristobal, it is the wildlife. It is wildlife centered, and humans are just kind of like in the background trying to like get out of their way. So, sea lions in the middle of the road, sea lions across the park bench, sea lions blocking the entrance to a restaurant. They're everywhere. And we did a Highlands tour, which we had not planned on doing. We kind of left some room, some flexibility in our schedule in San Cristobal to just kind of to explore
I
and to
love
be
that.
spontaneous. So we booked a Highlands tour kind of last minute. We had a great guide. Again, since 97% of the country or of the Galapagos is protected parklands, a lot of places you have to have a naturalist guide take you. There are some places you can go on your own, but a lot of places you have to have a guide just because they're protecting the wildlife and protecting the natural spaces. So we had a guide who took us to basically the tortoise conservation in San Cristobal, and you could see the 100-plus-year-old tortoises. But then they also had space for all of the tiny, teeny babies that they were growing or raising. So it was really cool to see the contrast of like how could this tiny little creature grow up to be this monstrous tortoise. And you're just kind of there with them. I mean, you can get pretty up close, obviously still respecting their space, but you are there with all these amazing Galapagos tortoises that you see at the zoo. When you go to the zoo, you see a Galapagos tortoise, and so just
Right.
to see them in real life in their native habitat is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Usually on the Highlands tour, that's one stop. Another stop is Puerto Chino Beach. It's this gorgeous beach, very remote. I don't think we would have even known about it if not for this tour. Maybe there were like 20 people at this entire beach. There's this little cliff you can walk up and get a great panoramic view, and that's where we actually saw the blue-footed booby bird for the first time, which my son was just like so excited out of his mind because that's the one creature he wanted to see. So when we
Oh,
finally saw the
yay.
and like the blue of their feet is just so amazingly vibrant. Really, really cool bird. And so we saw the blue-footed booby bird there. And then we also went to El Junco Lagoon, which is like this old volcanic crater freshwater lagoon now. It's a little bit of a trek up like a boardwalk top type hike to get there. And we got to the top and we just were in a cloud. So we saw nothing.
Oh, I've been there. That's tough.
We talk about our sad viewpoint stories on this podcast a lot.
But it was still really cool. I mean, I
Yes.
loved the experience. My children were freezing because we didn't pack a change of clothes after the beach. but they were fine.
Oh,
We had snacks. It worked
puffing
out
them
great.
up.
Yes. But
Pump
yeah,
them
so
with
there's
some
those three
M&Ms and
things.
keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's some sugar. Those three things are usually part of the Highlands tour. So definitely recommend that.
Amazing. There is something I want to highlight from your time on this island
Mhm.
because it was such a great idea. And it sounds like something that you do wherever you travel. And it's literally never occurred to me before, which makes me feel bad. But now I have it in my head. And now I'm going to implement this with my daughter. But when you guys travel, you make an effort to give back in some way while you're there. So this particular trip, you brought a bunch of animal donations,
Mhm.
toys and stuff like that, and you had picked a shelter or a rescue to partner with, and that ended up turning into something really special. Like it
Yeah.
sounded like the lady just took you under her wing and was
Yeah.
like, "You're family now. Let me show you what the
Mm.
locals have to say about this place." So that was really cool, and I would love you to share that story with our audience because I think that a lot of people are going to want to start implementing this with their kids.
Yeah, we've done that in Belize and Costa Rica. We've taken school supplies, things like that. Galapagos, again, going back to joining the Facebook's destination specific group, I saw this lady post about an animal shelter, a dog shelter in Galapagos. And I thought, oh, well, that's something we could bring dog toys and dog stuff. That would be an easy way that we could contribute and do something for this, the community we're visiting, because dogs are not native to the Galapagos. They're there because people have brought them there. Then, of course, they've you know, bred and populated. And so they just, try and taking these stray dogs and take care of them. So we met up with this wonderful lady, Christina, the first night we were there, brought her the dog toys. And I mean, talk about one of the kindest people on earth. She just brought us in. She was like, okay, well, what can I do for you? Let me outfit your entire family with snorkeling gear and wetsuits for the entire week, basically.
Oh
And
my gosh.
then the next day, she and her friend Santi, who helps run the shelter, picked us up, took us to a special snorkeling spot. It just gave us like a private tour, and the whole week just, I mean, gave us recommendations for the other islands of here's a lady who can help with your laundry here, and this lady bakes the best banana bread. You're going to want to buy some banana bread for her. And oh, here's this taxi driver you're going to want to hire to take you to I mean, just
Amazing.
wonderful, wonderful woman. If anyone wants her contact information, I'd be happy to share. She also has a company that does tours on the island. So great, just a wonderful person. Yeah, and so that was really special. So one day we got to go to the dog shelter and we got to meet the dogs and play
Ah,
with them. And it was just really a really special moment. Nothing we expected. All we thought we were going to do was just donate these dog toys and do something for the community we were visiting. We're not
absolutely.
expecting everything that came from it. So it was just definitely a blessing.
Yeah, I think giving without expecting anything in return is so incredible. It's something that I hope to teach my daughter, but it's really cool when it's like reciprocated with this kind of thing. Obviously, you don't go in
Yeah,
expecting that, but it just turned into something really, really magical
it
and
did.
it allowed you to plug into the local community in an even where you're giving back to the tour driver and the banana bread lady and all of this stuff.
Yeah,
Like that is the experience that I want to have wherever I go, and it's what I want for my daughter, not just this hotel resort, everything's about me mindset. It's this mindset of like, okay, I'm visiting here. How can I leave this place better than I found it?
right. Yeah,
I love
And you
that.
exactly.
actually
Oh,
made a
goosebumps.
friend. You actually made a friend, which
Yeah.
is so cool. I love this. My good friend Lindsay, who has been on the podcast before, we went to St. Kitts. We bonded with our taxi driver one day. We had his WhatsApp information because of,
Uh-huh.
you know, needing to contact him for the taxi. Well, Lindsay has since gone back to St. Kitts. He came with his wife, like brought his family to meet Lindsay and like bonded.
Aw.
I love just stories of people just actually connecting with people in the places that they're visiting, locals, and
Yeah.
again, not just being there to be at a resort and for tourism, but actually get to know people in the community, and
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. Really special. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Connecting with others in this world. And
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. 100%. All right, let's move on to Isabella. So you did a tour. People describe it as kind of the highlight of their trips to the Galapagos. So tell us a little bit about that tour. And of course, you're like, I've seen some of the videos that you posted. Were you just looking around like, is this real? Like, pinch
Oh
me.
yeah.
How is this real life?
It's so Isabella is the largest of the islands size wise, like land mass, but it's the smallest population. And it's just, I mean, you can just walk down the middle of the street and like that's totally normal.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, but the two tours we did a Tunelas tour and then Tintoreras tour, which means like the tipped reef sharks. That's what Tintoreras is.
Okay.
And so both of them involved snorkeling and both involved a little bit of like land-based walking around, seeing the like lava rock formations, things like that. But both very different. The Tintoreras tour is where we saw the penguins, which are, I mean,
amazing.
So cool to see penguins in real life. And we saw like a sea lion chasing a penguin in the water. So that was really special. The Tunelas one is unique because that's where you can see seahorses while snorkeling.
Oh my gosh.
I would
what
love
a dream.
that. They're
like,
so
to
little,
see
right?
like a real seahorse. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, they're like, actually, these ones were kind of big. These were like maybe like 6-7 inches.
Oh my gosh, you just
I
said
mean,
6-7. I have a
relatively.
middle
I'm
schooler.
sorry.
Oh, middle school alert.
Apparently it's not a thing anymore, guys, but it's in my brain permanently.
No.
I can't unhear it.
You can't, you'll never unhear it.
Mm-mm.
No,
Sad.
I have a kindergartner who's very into that.
Yeah, it's past the middle schoolers. Now it's the little tiny kids who are saying it.
Yes, going down to tiny kids. But yeah, it's wonderful snorkeling. I mean, everywhere you go, there's just sea turtles. I mean, you can't even get away from them. Not that you would want to, but like they're just everywhere. It's incredible. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
we just came from Hawaii and I was so excited to snorkel in Hawaii. We didn't really get too much because the Kona storms had just come through and the water was all churned up. But I was like, oh my gosh, I am so spoiled. And I hate saying this, but I was like, after snorkeling in the Galapagos, I'm forever spoiled. Like,
this might be controversial, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm putting you on the spot. Because both of these, no matter how many points and miles, deals, and hacks you do, it's a pretty big expense to go to Hawaii, and it's a very big expense to go to the Galapagos. But if you had to pick which one, if you had to choose just one, which one would you say is more spectacular?
They're both different in their own ways. The Galapagos is magical. Like, I get chills saying that. It's magical. It's like no other place on earth. So
that's the winner. And I would imagine it's much less touristy. It's much harder to get to.
It's controlled. It's very controlled because you do have to pay that expensive fee to get in. So you know, that prohibits a lot of people from traveling there.
For sure.
Also, it's not like you can just hop on one plane to get there.
Right.
You have to at least get to Quito or Guayaquil and then go to.
Yeah.
So
you
it's a little harder to get there. You got to work for it.
It sounds like a true bucket list opportunity. In the world of points and miles, things that maybe we once thought of as bucket lists, we realize are actually very accessible. This one still sounds like such an unbelievable experience that it really is like that once in a lifetime bucket list experience.
Yeah, especially if you are interested in wildlife. You'll see creatures there you can't see anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So it's just really special. Yeah.
Was the snorkeling with the sea lion that went under you, was that on Isabella in these tours or was that a different island?
Oh my gosh. I think that was on San Cristobal.
Okay. So you went snorkeling there too.
We snorkeled everywhere.
Oh, okay.
All 3 islands.
Was there a particular island where you felt the snorkeling was the best?
San Cristobal and Isabella were the two best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think you said in that highlight where the sea lion was that everything was kind of murky because the waves had been churning a little bit. Was it more clear where you saw the seahorses?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It was a little murky there too, but there was some other snorkeling. We did, I don't think I mentioned this yet, a 360 tour in San Cristobal, which is probably the number one tour people should do if they go to San Cristobal. It goes completely around the island, 360
Oh,
degrees.
cool.
It stops at this place called Kicker Rock, which is where these two huge rocks have come up out of the ocean. And so there's so many fish. And that water is crystal clear. There's rays, there's turtles, and hammerhead sharks, which are
Oh,
like
wow.
far enough down that you're not really that. I mean, maybe if you're scared of swimming sharks, you might be scared, but I totally felt safe. Even with my
I love how
children floating in the
casually
water, I was like,
you
there's
you said that so casually. I
And
mean, like, if
hammerhead
you're
sharks.
afraid of swimming with
hammerhead
sharks,
sharks.
then maybe that would be an issue for you, but
I am afraid, but I still want to try it.
I mean, they're far enough down that they're not interested in you, right?
Yeah.
There's so many fish there for them to eat if they wanted to,
I
but
feel
they're not.
like
They don't care about you.
I can do it if it's clear, if the water is clear enough. I went
Hmm.
snorkeling in Cabo with my daughter, and the water was much darker than I expected,
Oh
and
yeah,
it gave me a little panic. I did it because I didn't
yeah,
want her to know I was panicking, but I was slightly panicking. I think if I can see what's coming on all sides, I can muster up the bravery required to swim with sharks. I think.
yeah. There's hammerhead sharks, white-tipped reef sharks, and black-tipped reef sharks that we snorkeled with, and felt completely fine the whole time. Very
Okay.
safe.
Oh,
this would be a personal
magic.
decision for everybody, but it to me, talking to you about this, thinking about my own family, and thinking, oh my gosh, my 13-year-old son would love this experience. But we also have a 4-year-old who's still working
Mm,
on learning to swim. It seems like
yeah.
if a family wants to plan this trip, it maybe is one that you really need to have kids that are a little older. Do you think if you were traveling with small kids, there would still be enough for them to do and not
Hmm.
be able to snorkel? What's your advice there? We will be right back to today's episode, everybody. But as you know, Wonderland on Points is presented by Yahoo Travel. If you're budget friendly, care about points and miles, or just want to help your family travel more for less, we built something for you. The Why Wonder newsletter, written twice a week by Joanna and myself, gives you the ground rules, tips, and tricks on earning and using points and miles.
You'll also get travel news, great articles that we're loving, and the latest developments from Yahoo Travel that listeners of this podcast would absolutely love. It's informative and it's helpful and fun. It's everything you love about us right here at Wonderland on Points, but we're sending it straight to your inbox. So you can sign up for the Why Wonder newsletter at travel.yahoo.com or at the link in our show notes. And now back to the episode.
Yeah. So my son was 5 when we went,
Okay.
and not the best snorkeler. But he still was able to see a ton and could still get his face in the water and see the sea turtles and things like that. And then my daughter was 8 at the time, and by the time we got to Isabella, snorkeling had just clicked with her, and she
Oh, cool.
fell in love, and I couldn't get her out of the water. So, it is dependent on your kids and their swimming, level and their swimming strength. But my son, who was 5 and not the best swimmer, not the best snorkeler, still was able to see things. And the land-based stuff, he he has said he wants to move to San Cristobal, Galapagos when he's older.
Oh,
That's how much he fell in love with the island. So,
wow. That's a
and he
big
told me,
statement at that age.
Mommy, you can come and stay with me if you want to visit. I was like, oh, thank you
How
for that.
generous.
How generous.
Kids are so funny. I love it.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about food because we
Mhm.
have not done that at all. What is the
Yeah.
food budget like for this area? I mean, obviously you probably did some eating at the hotels, but give us a broad
Hmm.
overview of like your favorite things that you ate and what
Yeah.
people should expect in terms of cost when it comes to food.
Yeah. So our family, we've got 2 kids that are off and on picky eaters, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Depends on the day. And we're also 3 of us are vegetarians and my husband's a vegan. So that adds a little bit more complexity when we're trying to find somewhere we can all eat.
For sure.
Plenty of options. We never had a problem finding somewhere to eat that could fit our dietary needs.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
and the prices were pretty reasonable. I mean, not Hawaii prices, which are just kind of crazy, but an average, and not even like a big city type price, but just like a average city price, American city price for food for
Okay.
restaurants, I would say.
I'm guessing you didn't see a lot of commercial options. I mean, McDonald's are all over the world.
No.
KFC is oddly all over the world, and Subway. Was
No.
this all more local fare?
All local fare. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And even with on and off picky kids, they were able to find things that they liked.
They found things, plenty of fresh fruit too. Like just
Oh gosh,
really
yes.
like fresh fruit juices and plantains and yeah, really great options.
Was there any single place you ate that you were like, that's so incredible, I dream about this food, you have to go
Oh
there?
my gosh. We had this like artichoke ceviche.
Oh, so I do
And
not
like
like regular ceviche because gross, but I would kill some artichoke ceviche.
Niconia Hotel. It's a hotel, but they have an on-site restaurant.
Okay.
It's like a 1 minute walk from the Hotel Indigo. I think that's where we ate that ceviche. That was
And
really
it was
good.
just life changing.
Hearts of palm ceviche. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so delicious.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't chat about what time of year you visited. Obviously, this is on the equator, so the temperatures probably don't range that much. But do they have like a high season and a low season for tourists, or is it, pretty much the same year round? Do you know?
So we traveled at the end of May, early June, right after school got out, and the weather was perfect. We did have wetsuits that we used that were graciously given to us by Christina for snorkeling, but we also snorkeled without them and we're fine. So, it's beautiful weather year round.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That makes it really easy, guys, for planning this kind of thing around kid breaks and everything else. You have a lot of options. You don't have to just be beholden to a certain time of year. So I like that.
Yeah.
So you felt like the water was like a nice temperature. It wasn't anything too
Yeah.
shocking.
No, it felt good.
Okay, between all of the things that you guys saw and did, were there any surprise? I mean, some of this obviously is going to be a hit. Like when you're talking about it, there's no doubt that was going to be a hit. But was there any surprise favorite activity for any of the members of your family that you're like, wow, okay, I didn't expect them to love it that much, but awesome.
I would just say seeing all the wildlife. But there is one particular moment that really stands out. It was very unexpected. And we were on this 360 tour in San Cristobal that goes around the whole island. And it stops, you snorkel at various places or you get out and walk around. And we were just out in the water. And out of nowhere, we saw a pod of orcas, which is very rare. We had just heard someone say, in their decade of being on that island, they'd only seen orcas once. And there was this beautiful pod of orcas that came like breaching out of the water. And I started crying because it was just, I've said the word magical before to describe this trip, but that was such a magical moment, completely unexpected. Never my wildest dreams that I think we would see orcas in the wild in the Galapagos. And there they were, there were multiple of them. And they were so close to the boat, maybe like 15 feet away from the boat. Just
Oh my gosh.
really, really special and incredible.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah,
what a life-changing moment.
Just things you never imagined you would see and do. That's why the Galapagos is just so special. It's just, yeah.
Amazing. So if someone's thinking about it and thinking like, this sounds amazing, but it also sounds really complicated, would you encourage them to do it? And maybe for beginners, give them an overview of what kinds of things they should do in their card opening, in their points and miles journey to get started heading towards a dream trip like this.
Yes, so it is a little complicated, but I think you could make it less complicated. I think if you just picked one island and either do the one where the airport is, so San Cristobal or Santa Cruz, it's a lot easier. You don't have to worry about island hopping and you can still get a magical experience. And if you're thinking about what card to open, I would go to Flight Connections and try and figure out whatever town you live in, how do you get to Quito from there? Do you have a direct flight? Do you need to go to Miami? Do you need to go to Houston? Like, how can you get to Quito? Because if you can puzzle piece it to get to Quito, again, it's just Avianca's your option to get to the Galapagos. And so, I don't know if you need an airline specific card, like an American Airlines card, or even an Alaska card where you can use Alaska Miles to book American flights. those are great options for American, or, Amex is a great option for Avianca. Um, and then for hotels, the IHG property we loved. Now, there
Mm.
are other hotels, so maybe you could book it through a travel portal and get a great deal. That's something, people could definitely look into. Or if you have a car that can reimburse your travel expenses, like the Venture X or something like that, you could look at doing that as well. But I think it's definitely possible to do with points on miles, and you can make it less complicated by just picking one island.
Great advice.
And just to confirm, you did not rent a car for any of this. You just were
No.
able to rely on local transportation, taxis, because I love a
Yes.
no car rental trip. We
Mhm,
got so
No
excited
car
planning
rental.
our big trip to Norway. We're going this summer. It's going to
Yeah.
be amazing. But I was so happy about my flights and my hotels on points. And then came the car rental expense, and it's a massive one. But we just really
Yeah.
couldn't do the things we wanted to do without a car rental. But this sounds like you can beautifully do it without a car rental.
You can. Yes. We just relied really on taxis, which the taxis, it's like, if it's a pickup truck, it's probably a taxi. So you're just kind of like, hey, pickup truck, person driving, can you take me to this place?
Oh,
So just know that.
okay.
I mean, it's such a small island. I mean, they all are relatively small, but it's just, yeah.
And you pay
Do you
cash
hop
for
in
those.
the back of a
Uh-huh.
pickup truck?
Yeah.
Love
Do you
it.
ride in the back?
Oh,
'Cause
you
this
mean
is-
in the back? Oh, like in
Yeah.
the
No,
no,
like
no.
that, because that's what I pictured right now is
Hop on back.
the whole family just hopping
Yeah.
in the bed at the pickup truck. I used to do that when I was a kid, but those were obviously not taxis. Those were
I
friends.
did that as a kid too. No, just in actual seats in the truck.
That seems like an interesting choice for a taxi. There's not much room in a pickup truck.
Because they throw like the snorkel gear, the diving gear, or the suitcases in the back of the truck.
That actually makes a lot of sense now that you say
Yeah.
it. All right. Well, before we let you go, tell us where your family is heading next on points.
Oh, we're going to Costa Rica this summer
Yay!
using 5 Marriott nights from a recent sign-up bonus. And then we're going to, my kids don't know this, so if anyone's listening and you know my family, like, shh, we are going to Lapland, Finland in December,
Oh
right
my
before
gosh.
Christmas. So
The
we're going to go
reindeer.
try and find Santa Claus and reindeers and husky rides and northern lights and all that,
Magic.
like, Christmas magic. And we get back home 2 days before Christmas. So
Oh my gosh.
it'll be so fun.
That is going to be so incredible. Oh, feel free to come back and cover that one on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm super excited about that.
Okay, guys. Well, you make sure to go over to Lauren's Instagram, Adventuring Party of 4. She has a ton of highlight bubbles, and she does a really great job with trip recaps. So much good information, detailed information. If you want to visit any of the places that she's been, you're going to gain a ton of knowledge from looking through her highlights. So is there anywhere else, Lauren, that people can find you online?
Really, just Instagram Adventuring Party of 4 is the main place right now. But yeah, thank you guys for
Okay.
having me. This is
Oh,
awesome.
it was such a joy. Thank you for being here. Everybody, I will tag Lauren's Instagram in the show notes. So all you have to do is head down there and click so you can make sure to follow her. And thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to plan your next trip.
Remember, we're travelers sharing our experiences, not financial advisors. So always do your own research and make informed decisions.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a Points and Miles tip.
We'll see you next time on Wonderland on Points.